Hey guys, how you doing today? Well, I want to share that I think I've made probably the biggest discovery I've ever found in researching things. So, we're going to talk about the purpose of the pyramids, the purpose of Angkor Wat, which is I believe, a Cambodian or Indonesian, massively large, considered one of the largest temples, I think, on the planet, which has an amazing hydraulic system for their water, which goes to different places all around that area. It was just a beautiful part of our planet. And if you ever get a chance to look at these temples from above, similar to the pyramids, but particularly the Hindu temples, and I'm leaving links in the description so you can actually see kind of where I got all some of this information from. But it just looks weird. The temples from above look weird. Essentially, they are power stations. And I don't know if people have heard this before, but now I've got enough knowledge to prove it. And we're going to do that in more videos to come, but I just wanted to release this information. There are a couple other people on YouTube who have mentioned this, but I have not seen the video that's going to detail everything the way I am. As I mentioned, I grew up in the Bay Area, and we had a lot of these old world buildings here. And San Francisco just had so many. I mean, it just felt like the biggest city ever. The other day, I was just walking around, and I was like, "Why does it feel so small here? This used to be like kind of like this magical place, that was huge, and business and financial money's being moved around, and big shots walk around. It's just, this was back in like late '80s, early '90s. It's really kind of popping.
Can't stay for
since they've knocked down all these buildings, gotten rid of it. It doesn't have that old world feel as much as it did back then, but it still kind of does. And I think that's a little bit of what flavor kind of San Francisco is. It's got this kind of regalness to it. It's really kind of cool now that I'm looking at it. But the first thing I want to do, I'm leaving in my description a link to a YouTube video, and it is really one of the best videos. Anyone watching my videos has to go watch that. Don't be fooled by the title. So the title is The Lost History of Flat Earth. So it is not about flat Earth. I think the very end of the series, it's a long video. It's like about 5 hours long. But the last hour they talk a little bit about flat Earth, but everything before that is not about that, and is about what this video is about. And so that link is there. And I just want to kind of pay my respects for the person who brought that through. So essentially, if you haven't noticed, all throughout America, actually all around the world, if you go to any place in America and you want to go to the Capitol building or, one of the state buildings, they tend to be these kind of ancient insane asylums, but or just federal buildings, like really nice, massively large, old Victorian architecture. And I remember when I was a kid, I grew up in the Bay Area in Oakland, and I would go to San Francisco, and San Francisco was huge. It was like a wonderland. I mean, the buildings were so big, and that's the kind of feeling you get when you walk into some of these old world buildings. They're massive. Pillars, huge archways, huge doors, massive amount of detail, all done with stone, cement, really difficult material to kind of work with. And I guess what I'm hearing is that the narrative is saying that we built them all in, across the world in like what, 10 years, starting in between, or 100, I don't know, between 1700 and 1800. But that's why the video, the lost history of flat earth is so important, because he goes in and proves all of this, shows videos, shows all these things. And I'm just trying to get the message out to humanity, because there are huge things we can do from here. But nonetheless, it's kind of like during the time of the gold rush. And he's showing pictures of old world San Francisco before some kind of fire, before some kind of flood. I mean, it's almost like our history is a joke. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel. After learning more and more about things, it's yeah. Anyways, so the fulcrum of this story, the denouement, the climax, the purpose, is that we at some point, and I'm thinking, I think it happened probably right before we got to the 1700s or 1800s, had some type of global cataclysm recently. And I'm not talking about the Younger Dryas, which happened about 11,000 some odd years ago, but all these old world buildings. And I'm gonna walk through some pictures. I'm gonna probably actually explain this in detail, but they had to have been here before we came and settled into the Americas. And I'm going to show you that in these videos. I'm going to show you all types of debunking information around electricity, around just a lot of stuff that we were taught. All these things in history, they did it with chisels in their hands and just a lot of guys and some slave work and this and that. And it's like, nah, and these old time photos really help. Anyways, that's my point. I'm going to go through the videos. I'm going to show you how the Hindu temples were power generators for free energy. And I'll go through the pyramids and show you kind of how that works. But essentially, what you're going to see in these old world buildings, which had antennas that looked very much like power processing devices used at a power plant, that we had recently, architecture still around, a society that had free energy and was easily distributed, collected through the antennas and spires in these buildings, collected through the temples all across the country. And I don't think we were using the pyramids at this point, but back in the day, the pyramids were doing something different, bigger scale, same thing. But you're going to see, and the star forts, what were they really? They were not forts. And that's why, again, I'm going to reference this video, The Lost History of Flat Earth, because he goes into details that are really important in understanding all that I'm saying. There's a reason, if you grew up in the Bay Area, there's that little fort near the Bay Bridge, okay? And then I was just watching a podcast, and this guy was talking about there's some kind of fort that's 70 miles off the coast of Florida in the Gulf side. And it's like, why did they build this here? But now, after I learned all this, it makes a lot of sense. So I don't think I could even regurgitate all of it, but I just want to kind of paint this picture. We can turn this world back into the most beautiful utopia ever by learning how to take telluric energy or electrical energy from the atmosphere, the ions or whatnot, utilizing these type of technologies, using water as a transporter, a conductor, a means of storing the energy, moving it to be used. Water has so many things, and he talks about that in the show, in the movie. You guys just have to watch all of it. Again, do not get discouraged from the flat earth title. It has nothing to do about flat earth. But the water is a big part of all this. And if you'll notice, all the old castles, all of Angkor Wat, they had one of the most extravagant hydraulic systems ever. And when I go through these videos, you're going to find this really interesting. You're going to be kind of shocked. Because now that what they discovered with the LiDAR, radar, and Amazon, all I'm seeing is the pyramid is the main hub for the power generation. And then it would get transmitted, sent out to sister areas, and then they had, whatever you need at a power station, something to transmit it. That's what the obelisks were for, the tall pillars. All this stuff is all over our world. And there's nothing that's going to stop us from being able to put this together. So if we can just do that, essentially they had some type of grid, a planetary grid, which was functional, which worked. And who knows how long this was going on for. Could have been thousands of years. But essentially what I think happened is someone brought down the grid and also got rid of the water, because a lot of these places where they would bring the energy through they had even more water around them. And so and this is in the movie, the video, not a movie. It's called The Lost History of Flat Earth. Please watch it, because I don't think I can do it any justice talking about it, but you guys got to watch it. The water plays an integral role in so many things. And the reason I had so much interest in this is because I grew up in the Bay Area. The old-timey architecture, the old world architecture was very, it was just intriguing. It was enchanting, and I wanted to know more about it. And it had me in a state of wonder when I was a kid. Something that still makes you go, wow, And I was just walking there the other day, and I was like, what happened to this place? This is not the same. I don't think anywhere is. But they had a bathhouse in San Francisco. Now, the hydrotherapy, I think it's called hydrobaric chambers, those work really, really good for healing. You got to watch this movie. Again, this stuff is all directly from this video. Please watch it. I'm going to give more of a detailed synopsis of it. But just understand, free energy, literally free. What would it be like to live in a world where everything surrounding energy is free? You don't have to pay for your transportation. You could plant your own food if you want to. You have energy coming out the wazoo. You can use energy for whatever you want. So I'm sure you would build things and put it toward constructive things. You'd put things toward the society, the community. That's a big part. Everyone has to do their part. But we could be living in a dream. No one would have to work. Do what you want to do, build what you want to build, get help if you can get help, trade gold if you want to trade. The money needs to go. The government systems need to go. We need to have just something different. That's all the old world. Those are all control systems. And you see, the only thing that could really stand in the way of us kind of putting this back together are regulations, laws, all these things we passed that maybe at some point we needed to have a governing body. And we probably still need to have something there. But we're going to phase out of it, I think, as fast as possible, because it's not, it's doing so much more damage now than anything positive. And we need to remember and feel what it feels like to be free again. So work with me here. Think about it. You don't need money. We got rid of money. We got gold, or we have some kind of gold-backed currency with the QFS system. Perfect. Okay? No one uses money anymore. What would your life be like? What would it be like if, and let's say, there were some social service programs during this kind of financial transition where I think maybe even a global currency reset, and we just got rid of the old fiat system, and that's a slavery system. It's a control system, and we just went with better things. And then at that point, everyone, it could be like redemption funds, but everyone is given what they want. If you want a house, you get a house. You have to go find it. You have to go get the people to build it or trade for it, but no one is denied anything. So there would be no poverty. There would be no crime. We would have optimal health, because all we would have to do with our time is do only what we loved and wanted to do. We could learn. We could be practicing a sport, an instrument. We could learn an instrument. We could express ourselves. I mean, this is like essentially what I think, and I kind of feel like these societies did. They would leave us with nothing but the opportunity to go deeper into our own evolution and our own spiritual selves. And that means truth. And that means a lot of positive things as you learn the true aspects of yourself through spirituality, because you'll have time. You don't need to stress about anything. So, that would be a magical world. I think it hits a point where my mind can't even think about what it would be like, because we would have already done everything I can think about. And that's like in the first, unrealistically 20 days. Realistically, probably 6 months. To where people are getting up, they're waking up, thanking the day in a state of gratitude. Just so happy to be here. And just doing what your heart content wants to do. I'm going to leave you guys with that.